welcome to the channel. So today we will be reviewing the book which no one asked for clearly, but anyways we are going to do it because why ask reasons for the good things that you love to do, right? So don't hate me at all. Today I've picked The Girl in Room 105 by Chetan Bhagat. So giving you a brief about this book is a work of fiction that was published in 2018 by Wasteland Books. Alright, and considering and looking upon the genre of this book falls upon the mystery and the suspense thriller. Well, delving a little deeper into the kind of book this is, it is a story about an IIT tutor whose name is case of Raj Purohit, who is the protagonist of the novel. When he happens to go to her ex-girlfriend whose name is Zara Alone in her place to wish her birthday, what he finds out is something that I have to break down to you. He finds her dead, and that's the whole mystery of murder begins from there, and the story revolves around the protagonist case of Raj Purohit and his friend Saurabh to go on a quest to find the murderer of his ex-girlfriend. And it is a book that also touches upon the stereotypical and political issues of the country and the nation as a whole, and it binds up, and what it comes together down is this novel at the end. Alright, and it also has a sequel to it. The sequels are One Arranged Murder and 400 Days. You can get the book. And talking about this video, it's going to be a spoiler-free book review, and we are going to look at the parts of the book that does not work and the parts that does. The impressive part of the novel is that it represents the Indian reality. Yes, talking about one of the characters whose name is Rana, who happens to be the police officer. He's less interested in finding the true murderer of Zara Alone. All he wants is someone behind the bars to be in the good names of the Indian media and to play safe. The only reason why he sticks his nose around to find the murderer of Zara Alone with Keshav and Saurabh, who happens to be the Sherlock Holmes of the Bhagat's universe, is to have his own way of getting promoted. He has his own selfish interest. And furthermore, why the novel works out is because in the minimal part of the novel there is this Chandan Institute, alright, in which they are least concerned about the IIT aspirants. All they want is good number to flood in, just for their digits to increase in their bank accounts, right? And moving on, one of the reasons why this novel works out, for me at least, is that it represents, or it shows, the stereotypical religious problem of the country. Not just that, it also shows the political issues of the country. Consider this: there is this protagonist case of Raj Purohit, who is from Rajasthan, and his father works for RSS, while the girl whom he is currently dating is Zara Alone, who is a Kashmiri Muslim. And consider the kind of problems that transpires between them. It is something good to read, I should say. And moving on, it also brings and touches the part of the problem of Kashmir issues. It's definitely good to read it because it definitely keeps you informed. And moving on, the brotherhood. I mean, the relationship that Saurabh and Keshav shares is something wonderful. While I was reading it, I was also missing my boys. It's beautifully wooved. They are funny, they are witty at times, but then the most important of it all is that they stick together with one another when they need each other the most. Now moving on, the unimpressive part of the novel. First is too many characters and the length of the book. Well, if you ask me to plug out one character and keep it away, that would not hamper the story of the novel. You'd be disappointed to know that there are not just one, there are plenty of them. Yes, you heard me right. There are too many characters that does not help in the building up of the story of the book. Alright? Instead of that time which is being invested upon those characters could be used instead in building up of the character. Well, I will come to that later. And second is the length of the book. It is a volume of 304 pages. You'll have to be definitely mentally prepared, if you're not a bookworm, to get into the ride to read this book, alright? But definitely the weight of the book also weighs it down in a sense. Well, ironically, if the book would have been a little shorter, maybe around the pages of 105, it would definitely have aided to make the book even more effective and powerful. Well, the second problem is the lack of emotional depth between the character. Well, the lackluster of emotional depth between the character weighs the weight of the novels paramountly, alright? Weighs down instead the weight of the novel paramountly, definitely. Well, there have been moments in the novels, like, just consider the relationship between Zara alone and Kesav Rajpurohit. It is rather absurd for me to think that, why would Kesav risk his very own life to getting into the zone to, find the murderer of Zara. And also, I know for a fact that it is titled as an unloved story, but for a fact it needed to be more, believable for us to believe that, okay, Kesav is having hard time moving on from this relationship. It definitely lacks that. And it's not just between the relationship of Kesav and Zara. There are exceptions, definitely Saurabh and Kesav been the exception, but the relationship between Zara and his family, his brother, her brother, that definitely weighs down the novel. And the third is, the unreal turn of characters. Well, to be fairly honest about the book, there have been times in the novel where I was left scratching the head, like Safdar, who happens to be the father of Zara, and Kesav, they have prejudices at the initial, especially from Safdar's side. But in the middle, all of a sudden he turned sympathetic, and now they have a good relationship. I didn't see that coming. I mean, he's being allowed to even enter into Zara's room and to investigate, alright? So that did not really fit into the picture, at least for me. And also, there have been plots where I was supposed to be, feeling for the characters or the protagonist, but rather I felt distant. And I definitely blame the author for the poor writing, which when he fails to connect the emotional nerve of the characters with the readers, and he fails to do it. Well, last but not the least, it's just another typical Indian story and the Chetan Bhagat's problem. That's the fourth point for now. Well, the typical Indian story is that it definitely turns out to be just another CID mystery kind of a story, alright? So you don't come with a lot of expectations. Even I did come, but it was hurt badly, I should say. And the guessing game was pretty easy, but I had given it halfway because I drained all my energy reading the book. I mean, it could have been a good read, definitely, and had it been, a little bit more precise and all of that, but it really weighs down the weight of the novel because of that very thing. And yes, the Chetan Bhagat's problem. Well, talking about Chetan Bhagat, he has definitely been the highest selling and highest seller of the Indian books, and I give him that at least. And he has definitely brought a lot of Indian masses to read the books. I would love to include myself because his book or his novel has been a stepping step for me to climb onto other greater books, from the east to west or wherever it be. But the problem of Chetan Bhagat, like objectifying women and all of that, it definitely continues. And lastly but not the least, I would like to open up to you without any further ado that I did not really connect to the protagonist, Kesav Rajpurohit. I really felt distant with him the whole time. Well, now it is for you to decide if you want to pick up the book or not. Well, that's the end of the book review, definitely. And if you really like the book review, do give a like, do comment and do share. And if you ever pick up the book, do let me know what you feel about the same. And if you want more of the book related videos or book reviews in this channel, do comment. And as of now, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, thank you. Bye, see you again. The impressive aspect of the novel is it represents the Indian reality. Yes, talking about one of the characters whose name is Rana, who happens to be the police officer. The only reason